watching the show at all, you know that every now and again I like to talk about hip hop and rap. And how like when I was raised, when I was growing up in the community, rap and hip hop was just not something that anyone really listened to. Well, I mean, in my community, in the circle of people that I ran in, it just wasn't all that popular. And maybe about 10, 15 years ago, it was something that I started looking into and started listening to. Like every now and again, yeah, you hear like a Tupac song, you hear something by Public Enemy, and you're like, oh yeah, I recognize that. And so I started investigating and digging deeper, and the stories of rap and hip hop are so fascinating, and I love it so much. Especially now living in New York, I have like this extra sense of maybe pride that I should not take ownership of. But it's like it's this uniquely New York thing. Try saying that 5 times fast. Unique New York. But yeah, it's something that I love. Well, anyway, yesterday Netflix dropped a brand new trailer for a brand new documentary starring Biggie, the Notorious B.I.G. It's the documentary is called Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell, and it kind of tracks like the life of Notorious B.I.G., where he came from, how he grew up, how he was raised. It seems to track similarly in the biopic Notorious. If you're familiar with, was it 2011? I want to say off the top of my head is when Notorious came out. It was a really good movie, and this documentary seems to be fascinating. I love this kind of stuff. Anytime that I can get my hands on anything like hip hop related, especially with the documentary, and like really sink your teeth into. I love this kind of stuff. Dominica, you've had a chance to check out the trailer. Where do you sit with like rap, hip hop documentaries? Are you into the scene? Is this something that interests you? Like, how does this trailer strike you?
I feel a little bit embarrassed to admit that I'm not really that into like rap and hip hop
How
stuff.
dare
I
you?
read the article you sent me. I know, I read the article you sent me. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm glad I had this to read because I didn't even know that Notorious B.I.G. was one of the ones that had passed away. And then I saw when he had passed away in '97, I was like, oh my goodness, like that should have been around the time that my brother was listening to a lot of rap stuff. So I feel like that should have been on my radar in some context, but it wasn't.
Well, hey, like there's always a time and place. Like we can always make up from the things that we've missed, and pick up, because like I was saying, that was my thing. When Tupac and Biggie died, when they had like their huge falling out and that whole thing, it was one of those things that I was in middle school when it all went down. I remember I remembered hearing stuff about that. Like I was removed from it, and I was vaguely exposed to it. Kurt Cobain's death was so much bigger in the community where I was living, where I grew up. Um, I feel, I don't know why, but it was one of those things that I was aware of when Biggie died, but it wasn't like it didn't affect me. I didn't listen to his music. I didn't know anyone who else listened to his music. And yeah, and it was in the years later that transpired that I really started learning about the history between these two, and how that all went down. And it's such a tragic story, but it's also a fascinating one and kind of a life lesson to say, like, there's so much. If you're not familiar with the whole beef between Tupac and Biggie, essentially it kind of went like this. Like there was a huge misunderstanding. Tupac and Biggie were best friends, right? Or like they were close. Biggie was recording some kind of he was recording a song. I think it was called "Who Shot Ya," and it was kind of like a big vibrato kind of thing. And Tupac, who had very recently been in a shooting himself, he wasn't killed at the time. He didn't know who was behind this all. When Biggie was recording this track, "Who Shot Ya," he thought that was Biggie's way of saying, like, I'm in charge. Who shot ya? Ha ha! I gotcha. Right. So Tupac had a huge falling out with Biggie. Of course, there's multiple sides to this story. This is at least what I know, right? So Tupac had a huge falling out with Biggie. Biggie's like, "What are you talking about? This song has nothing to do with you at all." And then some of Tupac's friends came and took down Biggie Smalls, and then of course, a few months later, there was retaliation against Tupac, and it went down how that went down. But stuff like these kinds of stories, I feel like there's so much life lessons that we can learn about, like, understanding and communication and understanding where other people are coming from. It's not always about you. Sometimes it's about the situation. Sometimes it's about the other person. And I feel like those are the types of stories and life lessons that I need in my life. And I like to try and be a proponent to expose others to those types of things. Dominica, is that the type of, having said that, is there...
When you describe it that way, I can definitely relate to that side of things, because I've absolutely been misunderstood so many times. I'm autistic, so and I didn't know I was autistic until like 2017. How long ago was that? Was that
about
like
4
years
yeah.
ago? 3.5. It was like mid then. And so, that led to a lot of like misunderstandings, people misinterpreting what I meant, like trying to read between the lines when there was nothing to read between the lines, because I'm very upfront. So I can definitely relate to that side of it.
It's like I said, sometimes it's not about you, it's about all of us, right? So anyway, guys, big question for you is what do you think of the Notorious B.I.G. documentary coming out on Netflix, rather? Is this the kind of thing that's right up your alley? Maybe after my description, does this get you a little bit more excited for it? I am definitely excited for it. Are you a hip-hop fan? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts there. All right, guys. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Tony Stark's Iron Man would want you to do.